Hey, what is going on, y'all? It is Eric, and we're back with another kind of an old school radio right here. This is the DAC Mark 9 radio telephone. This is the 40 channel digital display on it here, and it is, of course, missing a couple switches. I always end up seeing them with missing switches. This is just AM only. Has some nice big knobs on it here, nice handles on it here. I mean, kind of looks old school military here. So this came out in the late 70s, early 80s. And Mr. Steve had somewhat of an issue, he said, with this. He said he was able to get a mic wired up. Of course, it does have a 4-pin, but it is different. Just like all the other CB radios of the day, it may have this pin, but the pinouts were usually always different depending on who the manufacturer was. And even between the manufacturers, there was different radios with different pinouts, so you just couldn't do what you can now. Most of them have unified to the Cobra 4-pin microphone, so you can pretty much use any microphone without having to rewire it every time you get a new radio. But yep, we do have everything in this. This is somewhat of a hybrid. It is solid state on the receive side, but the transmit side has two tubes, one for modulation and the other for power. So Mr. Steve actually had an issue with that. So he ended up getting two tubes here in case we need them. It's always good to have those anyway, because eventually they will go bad and you always will have a spare set. That was always, remember always seeing that with all the other old radio equipment my father used to have, and have a whole drawer full of tubes. Just because if it goes bad, all you have to do is pop the covers, put in the new tube, and on your way you go. So we do have that, and I'm just going to show you the anything kind of on the back side and stuff just before we power this up and put it into a dummy load and see what is going on with it. So I'll be back in just a second. We'll see some other things on the back side and on the side here too, just to go over it. Be back one moment, please. All right. Now, I don't know if this was from a fan of this hunting lodge or if this radio was actually used possibly in that hunting lodge, but this is a somewhat of a felt patch sticker here for the hunting lodge in Crossville, Tennessee. I don't know how to say that, but maybe you do. Maybe you know this radio came from there. Anyway, let's flip this around. This is a beast. There's a speaker right here too. It's 30 pounds for this base radio, but let's see the back side of it now. Okay, not really that exciting here. Of course, it does plug into the AC mains, and we have a 1 amp fuse here. Vent holes. We got the it's from MH Scott Company, but yeah, this is the DAC Mark 9 FCC data and the serial number there. Prevent electrical shock. Do not expose to rain or moisture. Of course, you have to put those on. It's amazing still. So we just have a speaker jack as well out the back here, 1/8 inch jack. So that's pretty neat. And this is actually a transmission sticker here from the Federal Communications Commission, transmitter identification card, and there is someone's call sign. They did fill it out here. This is KXB 5460. Must have had this radio, and the unit is, of course, this DAC Mark 9. So let's go ahead and hook this up with our dummy load and see what's going on with this thing. Yep, made in Korea. Boy, I really had to reposition everything on the bench here. This thing is a big radio for sure, for sure. So we're gonna just hook it up to the bird here. We got 25 watt slug, and we got a 100 watt slug on the peak side. And yeah, I remember being able to find these little ends on these, a lot of them from Radio Shack actually. But you can also just end up changing out these switches if you wanted to have them all match and just do the old school metal toggle switches, which I've seen a lot of those do. Just because this thing is a you know, just a plastic piece that's going to eventually either fall off, crack, or break, depending on how this is switched so much. But yeah, that's a very cool layout, I'll tell you that. Mr. Steve actually did wire up a microphone for the DAC here, so that is good. We're going to go ahead and use this old school Galaxy microphone here. So we're going to plug that in and power it up. Of course, one of the switch covers over there is the power and missing. That's kind of unfortunate because majority of the time you'll end up being able to, you know, like you're not going to, if you don't want to turn off A&L or noise blanker, you know, you could repurpose that switch, so the power. But, you know, majority of the time, once you set these switches, you're not really going to mess with them too much. So let's go ahead and just set this up. We got our mic gain, SWR cal doesn't matter. Delta tune does have a notch, so we'll put that center RF gain all the way up. Not that it matters on the dummy load. And yep, we got switches all in there, and there's transmit and standby, so we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll just power this up, and since it does have tubes, we're going to let it warm up for a minute. So let's go ahead and, oh yeah, let me just, yeah, that thing is, all the meter lights are lit up. Very cool looking setup here. I mean, it's a good layout. I know a lot of people ended up buying these and repurposing this, basically gutting it and using this chassis and putting another radio inside it. But this is yeah, this is, I mean, this is a little bit of an art piece too, really. But we're gonna let this warm up for a little bit, make sure we got the tubes warmed up for transmit, and we'll be back to test it on the bird. Okay, we have it warmed up, and I did tell Steve I was working on it today, and he told me that when he first bought this radio, he had to deox all these knobs. They weren't moving, but yeah, they are freely moving now, so that is real good. A lot of these knobs, just like normal, and after age, they just get settled in and never moved, and then that's that. So we have this on the dummy load right now. We don't need volume or anything like that. We're going to just go ahead and key it up, and we should hopefully have some power output and modulation at the same time. And we're in the transmit mode and not in standby, and that doesn't really matter. We're RF power, and that can also share with plate current, A&L, noise blanker. All right, here we go, guys. Audio test 1 2 3 4 1 2. Good, good, good. Look at that. Let's go ahead and throw our peak kit on. Audio check 1 2 3 4. Audio check 1 2. Audio, audio, audio. So yeah, this microphone is in operational status. Those tubes are also in operational status. And I let this warm up for about 20 minutes. And it's saying on this meter, at least we have about 5 watts out. This one's giving us a little bit more. And our peak, audio check 1 2 1 2, audio check 1 2 3 4, about 17 watts on peak. So this radio seems to be working. Now I'm going to see if receive works, because that kind of really matters. All right, we do have transmission, we do have power, it's holding steady, and modulation is working. Audio, audio, audio. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take this off the dummy load and see what's going on the frequencies today.
Yeah, right there, quickly. Give me a coffee, I'll be back.
Oh boy. This does sound good. It's using this whole cabinet as a speaker. Of course, it's on the side.
I would consider myself a small individual.
Oh, it must be some sideband on 34. Of course, we don't have sideband on this radio.
Yep, right there in front of Texas. Hey, Hunter, yeah, we grow cannabis out here, but I would rather have the tomatoes and everything. My buddy is over here growing peppers right now out here in Arizona, and yeah, they're good, man. Oh, grow them all year long.
Conditions are a little bit all over the place. All right, well, we at least have everything going on here. Let's see if anyone's on the Good Time channel.
Oh, can be towing through right back.
So yeah, Mr. Steve, as of right now, he told me to go ahead and take a look at this for trying it again after powering it down today, power it back up tomorrow, and see if it was just operator error on his end. But not a problem whatsoever. Very cool to see this radio back in operation. Never actually had a DAC on the bench, so Mr. Steve always ends up giving me something kind of fun, kind of rare, kind of in good shape here. Of course, those switch covers. I think you can end up maybe 3D printing these. They also remind me of the automotive switches that you can get too. So anyone knows where to get them, please leave a comment down below and we'll get Mr. Steve in contact with you, or where to go to get these little covers, because yeah, that would be nice to keep this original like he wants to. Did see there is a mod to do the low channels on this. We're just going to let this roll as is. He wants to keep that just stock as possible on this radio. So yeah, after about 20 minutes of warm up, you probably could do a little less, but I always remember doing that is about 20 minutes on tubes, and once everything's all ready to go, then give it a shot. But yeah, we'll let this roll for Mr. Steve. If I don't add on to this video, then it is going back to him as is, and still with his spare tubes. Always nice. All right, guys, very simple video, at least for today. I hope you all having a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate it. 73.